If you're wanting to travel or vacation with your ferrets, there's definitely some do's and don'ts that we would like to cover. So if you're going to travel or vacation with your ferrets, you definitely need a travel cage. There's a couple different options that are very popular when traveling with ferrets. One of the more common crates that you can use for a ferret while traveling is your normal hard-sided pet carrier that's meant for a cat or a small dog. And then you have one of these cages, which is normally meant for a small animal like a rabbit or a guinea pig, and that's usually how they're advertised in the pet stores. Wait, stop. Major disclaimer, a cage like this is not really adequate for a guinea pig or rabbit to actually live in, even though the pet stores advertise it as so just so you know. Whether you're getting a hard-sided plastic carrier or one of these types of cages, what's important to note is that it's roomy enough to have enough stuff for your ferrets and to be comfortable. Something like this is a no, 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 no. When deciding on any type of crate to use as their travel carrier, I definitely recommend getting the largest one that you can still fit inside your vehicle. Because we travel with 9 pets inside this pickup truck, we are limited on what space that we have. So we have the biggest size crates that will actually still fit in here with all the other crates and animals that are in here. Deciding on a size to use is definitely important to take note of how many ferrets you have. One ferret could much easily fit in something like this versus if you have multiple ferrets. If you have multiple ferrets, you're going to obviously want something a little bit bigger because you want enough beds or enough hammocks so that they all have a spot to lay down. For us, this works okay for our 3 boys. For our hard-sided plastic carrier, we don't normally use this for our everyday traveling with the ferrets. Normally this is for if like one of the ferrets has to go to the vet real quick. Our crate is not the biggest of crates you can get. You can actually get these hard plastic ones in much larger sizes, which would be more appropriate if you're traveling long distances with them. But for ours is actually a smaller crate. It does still have enough room to hang one hammock. I have towels in the bottom because the problem with our crate, because it is a little smaller, is there's not room for an actual litter box. So I normally throw a towel down there and just wash it out after we've used it for the vet. And then of course we have a dish for water for them. Because we normally use this just for transporting back and forth to the vets, we normally just make sure they eat before going, as well as our veterinarians normally feed them while they're there. If I wanted to use this type of crate for a long-term travel, I would definitely upgrade the size that we have, just so there's more room for them as well as have room for an actual litter box inside. This is our personal favorite for traveling with the ferrets, is actually using a small cage for their crate. It's good to note these come in many different sizes as well, and you want to get the biggest one that you can still fit in your vehicle. When putting together your cage crate, it's important to still have some hammocks for them so they have somewhere to hang about, because they do like their hammocks. This one actually has enough room for a small storage bin that we use as the litter box for them. There's still a small space down here. I used to put a blanket or like a small bed in there and found they never used it. They ended up always just climbing back in here, so I just stopped putting it in there. As well as this has enough room to have 2 dishes for them for both food and water. When putting the dishes in, it's important to make sure your ferrets can actually reach the dishes. So one of the downsides to having this as a carrier is this is all plastic at the bottom. Now you can actually drill a hole through here and still attach one of these clip cups in there, or I just do this. Our boys, even in the normal cages, will actually eat and drink from their hammocks anyways. So I've made sure that all 3 of them will still eat and drink from here. So this works out perfectly for our boys. Because we travel long distances with our ferrets and they are kibble fed, it's very, very important they have access to kibble 24 hours a day. So that's why we make sure we have 2 dishes for them. For us, this cage works perfectly. The only thing I would change about it is maybe getting one that actually has a door up top. I used to have one that actually had this front door as well as a door up top. I ended up getting rid of it because we were using something differently at the time, but I did like it because when this is in our truck, it usually is sitting on the floor of the back seat. And because it's squished between the front seat and back seat, I can't actually get to this if I want to check on the boys or see them. If this had a door up top, I'd be able to get inside. I don't really have a good reason as to why I need the actual top door in the cage. I just really like to, while driving, sometimes go in there and just pet them because I miss them and I like to pet them. So yeah, I'm a weirdo, but yeah, top door would just make my life a little happier.